What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Raw review. This one is for March 27th, 1995. Raw kicks off this week, and I might have missed it last week, but we are going to get Bret Hart versus Owen in a no-holds-barred match. I didn't know that they announced it last week. On the go-home show before WrestleMania? Sheesh. If it's 20 to 25 minutes of the episode, and I don't know how they cannot have a good match, no matter what else happens, this show already getting off to a good grade. As of this episode, I don't really care about any of the matches that are going on at WrestleMania, so them giving me Bret Hart versus Owen Hart on a 1 hour episode of Raw, that's pretty much all that they can do right now because they can't possibly do anything for a storyline right now that will intrigue me more than I already am, which is not much. You know what I mean? Maybe if they played that Pamela Anderson tape, you know which one I'm talking about. If they played that on the pay-per-view, maybe I would go back and you know what? I might. Hold on. I'll be right back. You know what? I could take care of that on my spare time. But as for the show, we have Vince McMahon and Todd Pettengill live from the WWF studios. So they're going to be also showing some recaps of some feuds leading into WrestleMania. Again, this is just a recap show and then the Bret Hart versus Owen Hart match. So pretty much a nothing go home show. Not really building any more interest into just promoting. They're basically just promoting WrestleMania for anybody that doesn't know that it's taking place. I'm not really gonna go in depth of recapping what they're recapping. We've basically been going through it over the weeks, so we already know what's up. They highlighted the matches for Diesel versus Shawn Michaels for the WWF title, and Bam Bam Bigelow versus Lawrence Taylor. The back and forth between Vince and Todd comes off as genuine, which it probably was. Vince obviously isn't going to script himself, and Todd seems like he's able to comment, which with obviously within certain boundaries, but he's able to just have a conversation with Vince instead of needing to remember a script and hit certain taglines and talking points, which they probably also have, but you know it's more of a conversation, and then Vince brings in those taglines and talking points, and then Todd just kind of feeds off whatever Vince is talking about. They also get some words from Bob Backlund, who proclaims some nonsense, and Jim Ross takes the mic from him and tells him not to yell, which got a laugh out of me. Speaking of which, they recap the Intercontinental title scene, including Razor Ramon, Jeff Jarrett, Bob Backlund, and the man who should be getting the title shot, Barry Horowitz. But maybe next year. One can only dream. They also get some words from The Undertaker, who was in a match against King Kong Bundy, and he's looking to get the earn back from the $1 Million Corporation. Finally, we get some words from Bret Hart before his no-holds-barred match against his brother. Again, Bret on the mic is just terrible to listen to, but for all the mic skills that he lacks, he makes up for it twofold in the ring. And the crowd love him, so you can't really question why they push him. So let's get into this match, shall we? Owen gets on Bret as he's making his entrance. Bret, though, is able to get back in control, and eventually they make it to the outside, where Owen gets sent into the steps. They fight to the back for a little bit, and when they come back, Bret slams Owen onto the floor and the outside of the ring. Later, Owen rakes the back and delivers an enziguri. They go back outside, and this time Bret goes into the steps. Owen then sends his brother into the railing on the outside as well. After the commercial, the King of Hearts has Bret in a headlock, but Bret gets out of it by pulling or grabbing the nose. Owen takes the cover off the top turnbuckle, but he's the one who gets sent into it per wrestling rules. That who set it up must get it used on them. That's on page 69, Article 4, Section 20 of the Wrestling Rulebook. Owen pokes the eye when Bret was trying to put him in the sharpshooter. Owen then sends Bret crashing chest first into the exposed turnbuckle. Owen goes to the top and goes for a missile dropkick but misses. Bret slingshots him into the exposed turnbuckle and locks him into the sharpshooter for the win. Bret keeps the hold locked in after the match, and it takes 3 refs coming out for him to actually release the hold, sending a message to Mr. Bob Backlund for their I Quit match at WrestleMania. For 1995, this was a short and simple grudge match, so I can't really complain. Not many near falls or anything to add excitement, so that was actually lacking in this match, but for what it was, it did what it needed to do. It was just a match on Raw to basically fill up time on the go-home show for WrestleMania. Sucks for Owen Hart losing to his brother again, but it seems like in the WWE, the winner of the first match in feuds are always the ones that are the biggest loser in the long run. Just like here, Owen Hart beating Bret at WrestleMania, they made a big deal out of it. but obviously Bret Hart was the one to go on and become the more successful one out of the two. Then they had some more words from LT and Bigelow, but who cares anymore at this point? I've already said that. So for this episode, I'm gonna put this in the good column. I'll take what they gave us here and how they presented this go home show as opposed to like a show full of jobber matches and like 2 or 3 quick promo segments from guys that are having matches at WrestleMania. This was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. Like I've said, I'm only looking forward to Shawn and Diesel. So no matter what, nothing really much they could have done here to get me to care more about WrestleMania. So I'll go ahead and watch WrestleMania 11. I'm not going to do a review on it or anything. I'm just going to let you know what I thought of it on the next episode. Not really a good build so far. Out of the 3 WrestleManias that I've done the build to, 93, 94, 95 now, 94 was probably the best one, and WrestleMania 10 actually delivered. So let's see if they can keep that up. 93 was terrible. 94 was one of the best. I think, yeah, if you take out like the fact that it was in a smaller arena, I think WrestleMania 10 was probably the best WrestleMania that they've done up until this point. Obviously, you've had like WrestleMania 3 with Hogan, Andre, Ricky Steamboat, and Randy Savage, who I think is still an overrated match, but hey. And WrestleMania 6, Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. I still think WrestleMania 10, like as a show, as a full show, it was probably the best WrestleMania that they've done. Because if you go back and watch all the other WrestleManias, a ton of filler matches that don't really matter. But WrestleMania 10, you can go back and there's like 4 or 5 matches that you can look at and be like, matches that actually had builds to it and that you could say delivered or had a reason to be on the show. Obviously, you had the Owen versus Bret match, Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels in that ladder match. They even had Macho Man and Adam Bomb? No, Macho Man and Crush in a last man standing match or whatever that was. And I'm pretty Lex Luger, Yokozuna, you can even say, because that actually had Mr. Perfect, which they never followed that up. I don't know what Mr. Perfect is doing. Is he in WCW? I can't remember. But they had Mr. Perfect screw over Lex Luger in some sort that was gonna build to something, but then they just kind of slashed it. But yeah, you could point to that match as, you know, having a reason to be on the show. But yeah, WrestleMania 11, not really looking forward to it as much as WrestleMania 10, but we'll see what they do. With all that being said, I'm out. I'll catch you guys on the next one.